Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Kindle Unlimited update for you where I talk about the books that I have read and returned on KU, as well as the books that I currently have out and on my TBR. I have tried to film this video once already and I think the audio cut out and I don't know where it cut out, so we're just gonna refilm this. I do not have my usual extensive notes on all of these books, so we're going for memory and this is going to be a good test to see if I actually remember the things that I read. My last Kindle Unlimited update I think was in January, and since then I have been using it for a variety of reasons, not just for novels and romance books that I want to read, but also for kids picture books, which I have discovered there are quite a few on there and is really helpful when I'm coming up with video ideas for Little Bookish Teacher. So I'm going to start with 4 picture books, 2 of which were for my video on unicorns, which was a lot of fun to film. But there was Never Let a Unicorn Scribble by Diane, Alber, which is about a little girl who is trying to teach a unicorn to scribble, except the unicorn ends up eating the crayon the first time. It's a really gorgeous little story about knowing that anyone can be an artist. It's very short, very sweet, and just a very bright, colourful picture book. There is also Never Ever Upset a Unicorn by Wallace, which again is another unicorn story and is about what happens if you upset a unicorn or otherwise put it out. And it was a very funny little story. I also borrowed If You See a Jellyfish by Sandi Hobbs. This was a picture book that I was looking at because the foundation students at my school were looking at jellyfish as part of their phonics unit on J. Ultimately, we didn't end up using it, but it was a really fun read. It's about a jellyfish and some friends in the ocean. And then there was Lost and Found by Natalie Shampanier, which is a picture book that I actually received from the author for review, but I also found it on KU and I was just making sure there was no differences between the review copy and the physical copy. And it's about a group of toys who are left behind at a summer camp and end up in the Lost and Found, but want to find their forever home. There are also the books that I read for the Trans Rights Readathon. There was The Demon Inside Me by Chace, Verity, which is the next book in the Deal with the Demon series. I know it has a proper title and I just keep forgetting what it's called, but this is a really cool body swap story between a demon and a human man who works in retail. I read Mooncakes by Suzanne, which is a graphic novel. It is very sweet, very adorable. It features a wonderful diverse cast of characters and has a little bit of magic and whimsy in there. Absolutely loved it. There is Heart Haunt Havoc by Freydis, which was my favourite read of the Trans Rights Readathon. This is a little horror romance novella that is about a transgender hero who is also an exorcist who turns up at a house to help rid it of some malevolent spirits and ends up falling for the house's owner. I also read Genderqueer by Maia, Kobabe, which is an autobiographical graphic novel about the author and their experiences growing up. And there is also another graphic novel called Cheer Up, Love and Pompons by Fraiser, which is about a transgender cheerleader who is the only transgender cheerleader on the team and the things that she faces and the friendship that she has to rekindle and the relationships that she develops. And it was just gorgeous. Then moving out into some other titles that I picked up just for, other purposes. There was Chick Magnet by Emma Barry, which is about a chicken influencer who moves to a small town after a breakup and ends up falling in love with the local grumpy veterinarian who is also going through his own issues, including some financial instability. There was His First Time by Bauer, which was a collection of 3 novella/short stories. These are more erotic romance stories. They're all MM. And also Damaged by Onley James, which is a novella that takes place between books 3 and 4 for memory and is about a couple of side characters that we meet through the series, but I just hadn't picked up the novella. And then we have all of my hockey romances that I have borrowed out and read, which so far is 7 that I have read and returned. So there is One Pucked Up Pack by Sarah Blue, which technically I didn't finish reading. I got about 55% of the way through and DNF'd it because just nothing was happening. It was a Why Choose a Megaverse hockey romance and I just was not enjoying it. Another one that I started and DNF'd was Cold Temptation by Marquez Diamond. I just really didn't enjoy the characters and the dynamic of this one in the first sort of 10% of the story. It just wasn't working for me. There was Grinder by Samantha, which was a single dad romance. He is an NHL hockey player and he has one of his childhood friends as his live-in nanny and the two end up falling in love with each other. There is The Boyfriend Bargain by Ilsa Madden-Mills. This is a college hockey romance for memory. Anyway, the heroine in the story is trying to get a scholarship for a particular college and so she proposes a deal with one of the local college superstars that they fake date it for both their benefits. I also read A Lie for a Lie by Helena Hunting, which was a secret baby or surprise baby. No, it's a secret baby hockey romance story, which I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did, and I had a really good time. It was very enjoyable. There is Iced Out by C.E. Ritchie, which is sort of a hate to love hockey romance between 2 childhood rivals who end up on the same hockey team and really have to figure out their dynamic because their team is suffering for it because they just do not play well together on the ice despite being on the same team. And while repairing this relationship and figuring it all out, they end up falling in love. And the final book was a novella-length story called Puck That by Carla Doyle. And this one is between one of the hockey players on the team and the PR manager. And he happens to overhear her talking about how she doesn't know anything about hockey. And he thinks he hears her say that she hates hockey. And he's kind of been pining for her, and that kind of switches his perspective of her, and he starts trying to make her life miserable until she finally calls him on it. So those are all the books that I have read and returned. In terms of what I have out, most of these I don't know much about, so you'll probably get like 3 words from me on them, except for the fact that a significant number of these are hockey romances. Okay, so first on the list is Forbidden Devil by Melissa Ivers. I just know that this one is a hockey romance. I can't even remember what the main details of it were, but you know, we're going to read it and we'll find out. There is Until I Get You by Claire Contreras, which is another hockey romance. This one I think is a little bit darker. It is kind of an enemies to lovers story, but the hero falls first, and Izzy shared this one with me because we both haven't read it and we're both interested in it. There is Not Your Pucking Girl by Sheridan Ann, which I picked up because I didn't realise that Sheridan Ann was an Australian author, so it's getting added to the list. There is Right Man, Right Time by Megan Quinn, hockey romance. I can't remember if I've read Megan Quinn before. I may have read like one book, but I know she's very popular and I figured I should try another book. There is Taking a Chance by Kat Obi, which is a paranormal hockey romance that has been recommended to me, so I thought I would try that one. There is Rookie Mistake by Anna Szabo and L.A. Witt, and I have been meaning to try an Anna Szabo book, so I figured this one would be a good one to start with. There is Consider Me by Becca Mack, which seems to be quite a popular one. I don't know all that much about it, except that it kept coming up on all of my recommendation lists, so I've added it to mine. There is Boyfriend Material by Ilsa Madden-Mills, which I picked up because it's the follow-up to Boyfriend Bargain, and I think it's one of the friends from the first book, and I was very intrigued when I first read it, and this was kind of the one that I was interested in reading, but I'm a little bit of a completionist and had to read the first book first. There is The Enforcer by Avery Keelan. It's hockey romance, that's why it's on the list. Same thing with Cross-Checked Hearts by Callie Mell. We shall see. I quite literally just went through and it's like, yes, let's try that one. Yes, let's try that one. I think this was a random Amazon search. Can you tell what my life has been like recently? There is Lucky Hit by Hannah Cowan. This one I have out because Hannah Cowan is going to Rare, so I should read it. A recent one that I have downloaded off KU is Glove Save by Tegan Hunter because Saxon James had recommended it in her newsletter, and it is a grumpy goalie and a single mum, and I'm here for that. There is Beautiful Things by Emily Rath, which is one of her historical romances. I believe it is Why Choose, and after reading Pucking Around, I have to read more Emily Rath because I just loved her writing so much, and hopefully I get the same sort of feeling through her historical romances, which would be great because I'm very picky about my historical romance stories. I also have Spec Ops by Craig Allenson out. This is the second book in the Expeditionary Force series, which Bree's husband JT has recommended to me, and I've read the first book, but I need to continue reading this series because I haven't yet. So it's going to sit on my KU TBR until I pick it up. There is The Husband Hoax by Saxon James. I've only really read Saxon James's work when she's been co-writing with Eden Finley, and I've been meaning to try more of her standalone work. So this was a recent release, I think, and I'm very eager to pick it up. I have Fresh Catch by Kate Canterbury, which I downloaded purely because it's Kate Canterbury. I think this is part of the Talbot something series. We shall find out. There is Galen by Jacqueline Osborne, which is part of a paranormal series. I think there is like an angel person on the front cover. I don't know if it's an angel or a demon, but it looks like an angel. And I know that Robin was talking about this series, so I am intrigued. I'm intrigued because I'm always on the lookout for angel stories that I might actually like. And then there is The Cleaners by LL Frost, which I think might have been a recommendation from Lillian Lark while watching some of her TikTok videos. All I know is it is demons, and that's about all I can remember because I added this to my list a while ago. Fingers crossed this all works out. All right, so that is my Kindle Unlimited update. I will leave a list of all of the books that I have talked about down below so that you can check them out if you are interested. I would love to know what you have been reading on KU, or if you have any recommendations for me, feel free to share them down below. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.